How does a man go from borrowing money from his uncle to becoming richer than 15 African countries combined? Aliko Dangote turned a small loan into a $23.9 billion empire that powers Africa's cities, feeds millions, and quietly shifts global influence. He owns the continent's biggest refinery, lives in one of Nigeria's most expensive homes, and still drives himself around like it's business as usual. But is this just wealth? Or is Dangote building something far bigger than fortune? Let's find out. Building an empire. Now, once again, how do you go from borrowing money from your uncle to being richer than most African countries? No, seriously, that's not a joke. Aliko Dangote's net worth is now over $23.9 billion, which makes him wealthier than the GDP of 15 entire nations on the continent. That's not just rich, that's change the map rich. But it didn't start with power suits or private islands. It started in Lagos, Nigeria, in the noise, chaos, and energy of a city where ambition is the default setting. Dangote took a small loan and turned it into a business empire brick by brick. Or more accurately, bag by bag of cement. Here's the twist most people miss. He didn't just sell cement, he made it. In the 1990s, while others were trading goods, Dangote went all in on manufacturing. Why? Because when you make the product yourself, you cut out the middlemen, reduce costs, and control the entire pipeline. That one decision flipped the game. Now, Dangote cement is a beast. It produces over 48.6 million metric tons every single year and operates in 10 countries across Africa. It's not just a company, it's the backbone of Africa's construction boom. Roads, homes, skyscrapers. Chances are they're standing on Dangote's cement. And guess what? He still owns 85% of the company. Through his holding firm, he's not just a billionaire. He's the architect of an entire industry. That's how you take a dream and literally build an empire out of it. Now, you'd think after dominating Africa's cement market, Aliko Dangote would kick back and enjoy the billionaire life. But nope, the man doesn't coast. He doubled down. Cement was just the opening act. So, what came next? Essentials. The everyday stuff millions of Africans use. Sugar, salt, flour. All of it. Dangote turned basic commodities into billion-dollar streams. Why? Because he's not just playing the game. He's designing the board. But then came his boldest move yet. Oil and fertilizer. And when we say bold, we're talking $23 billion invested over 11 years kind of bold. Dangote didn't just dip his toes into oil, he built the largest petroleum refinery in Africa, taking on a government monopoly and rewriting the rules in the process. Who even tries that? And better yet, who actually pulls it off? The Dangote refinery officially fired up last year after over a decade of delays, headaches, and headlines. And with it finally operational, Dangote's fortune skyrocketed to $23.8 billion. That's almost double what he was worth just the year before. And if you ask him, he says that number still undersells it. Now at 67 years old, he's not just Africa's richest person, he's officially back on Forbes' top 100 billionaires list for the first time since 2018. And yeah, that refinery, so far he's the only one winning from it. So what's the end game here? Is Dangote trying to become a one-man OPEC? Let's keep going. Living the billionaire life. All right, we've seen how Aliko Dangote built his billions. Now let's talk about how he spends them. Because when you're worth nearly $24 billion, luxury isn't just a lifestyle, it's a signature. So, what does Africa's richest man do to treat himself? First off, private jets. Not rented, not leased, owned. Dangote bought a Bombardier Global Express XRS, one of the sleekest long-range jets in the sky, straight from Montreal, Canada. And he didn't just pick it up on a random Tuesday. The delivery landed right in time for his 53rd birthday at none other than Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Talk about birthday presents. That bird, it cost a cool $45 million, or around N16, $3 billion in local currency. But it doesn't stop there. When Dangote wants to cruise the waters instead of the skies, he does it in a $43 million luxury yacht. Yep. No exaggeration, this isn't just a boat, it's a floating palace. Think marble floors, high-end furnishings, and all the silence money can buy. The kind of yacht where business meetings turn into sunset parties and every guest leaves knowing who the boss is. So, jets, yachts, Dangote's got the full billionaire starter pack and then some. But what about cars? Inside Dangote's garage? You'd think Africa's richest man would be flexing supercars like a rapper in Monaco, right? Well, not quite. Aliko Dangote rolls differently. Believe it or not, the man buys a new car every 8 years, and most of the time, he's the one driving himself to meetings. Low-key? Yes. Underwhelming? Absolutely not. Let's start with one of the rarest beasts in his garage, the Maybach 57S Night Luxury. This isn't just a car, it's a carbon fiber spaceship on 24-inch wheels. It's got white brake calipers, carbon finish treatment, and a body that practically hugs the ground thanks to an electronic level control system. The hood, trunk, and doors are all carbon fiber. Even the engine cover got swapped out for a carbon version. Why? Because when you're worth $23.9 billion, even your engine needs to flex. Then, there's the Mercedes-Benz CL65 AMG. Smooth, brutal, and classy all at once. It's got a turbocharged V12 engine, pumping out 612 horsepower. That's the kind of car that says, I run a continent without saying a word. Oh, and it gets even crazier. Dangote also owns a Bugatti Veyron. Yeah, the same one that does 431 kilometers per h and can smoke just about anything on 4 wheels. Most billionaires collect art. Dangote collects speed. But he's not all flash. The man is still Nigerian at heart, which is why his garage includes multiple Toyota Land Cruiser Prados. These SUVs come loaded with a 5.7 LV8, 8-speed transmission, and 401 lb of torque. Built like tanks, smooth like butter, perfect for Lagos roads and business trips that demand comfort and presence. So, yeah, he may not brag, but every car in that garage tells a story. Silent power, heavy control, and just enough flash to remind everyone. This is Dangote's world. We're just driving through it. Ready to see how he spends his billions outside the garage? Let's keep going. Banana Island. When you're the richest man in Africa, you don't just live anywhere. You live where the air practically smells like money. And for Aliko Dangote, that place is Banana Island, Lagos, Nigeria's answer to Beverly Hills, Dubai's Palm Jumeirah, and Monaco all rolled into one. Dangote's mansion, worth a staggering £23 million. That's over in 20 billion, and it's perched right in the heart of this billionaire-built paradise. This isn't just a neighborhood, it's a flex. Banana Island is man-made, ultra-secure, and dripping in exclusivity. A single plot of land here can cost hundreds of millions of naira. The people who live here, think celebrities, oil tycoons, politicians, and power players who don't just want luxury, they want untouchable status. Now Dangote's mansion? Pure white exterior. Inside, massive, open-concept rooms dressed in high-end furnishings, rich decor, and everything you'd expect from a man who regularly lands on Forbes' top billionaire lists. But here's where it gets serious. The home is actually 2 palatial sections merged into one, complete with 2 full-size swimming pools, lush gardens, and the waterfront views that would make anyone jealous. And if these walls could talk, they'd whisper billion-dollar deals. Dangote has hosted everyone from Bill Gates to former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, and a few unnamed guests whose names are probably bigger than the guest rooms they stayed in. And here's a surprising twist. Despite being one of the wealthiest men on the planet, Dangote doesn't own a single property outside of Nigeria. That's right, no Paris penthouse, no London hideaway, no New York condo. The man puts his money where his home is. Giving back. But with all the private jets, Bugattis, and billion-dollar businesses, it'd be easy to think Aliko Dangote is all about the bottom line. But here's the part most people don't talk about. The man is also one of Africa's biggest givers. Back in 2014, Dangote didn't just make a donation, he went all in, launching the largest philanthropic foundation in Africa with a personal endowment of $1.25 billion. That's not just generosity, that's commitment. And ever since, the Dangote Foundation has been pouring out roughly $35 million every single year into programs designed to uplift the very continent that made him. So, where does that money go? Let's start with the kids. Right now, the foundation is running a $100 million program to fight severe malnutrition in children across Africa. And this year, they're once again giving out over 1 million bags of rice across Nigeria, just like they did during the 2024 hunger crisis. But it goes deeper. In partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Dangote's earlier vaccine efforts helped Nigeria get a major W, the eradication of polio. In 2015, the World Health Organization officially declared that the disease was no longer endemic in Nigeria. And Dangote's efforts were a huge part of that victory. And education, he's investing heavy there too. A recent $10 million donation is fueling the growth of the Aliko Dangote University of Science and Technology in Kano State. On top of that, his foundation is building school complexes, offering vocational training, and sponsoring fellowships through the World Economic Forum Young Global Leaders, all to help mold the next generation of African leaders. But perhaps the most powerful thing about him, despite his wealth, Dangote is known for living simply. He's not a flashy, bling-bling billionaire. He's a native of Kano who still carries that grounded energy. In 2016, when the Boko Haram conflict left thousands displaced in northern Nigeria, Dangote visited IDP camps and pledged $10 million to help victims. And he didn't stop at food. He promised jobs, training, and opportunity. Because to him, philanthropy isn't about photo ops, it's about impact. So here's a thought. When your wealth could buy you anything in the world, and you choose to give it back to the people who need it most, what kind of legacy are you really building? And after everything, is Aliko Dangote just the richest man in Africa? Or is he the most influential one too? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more celebrity collections.